Welcome back to the program. I'm Roby Brock. We are joined by the Speaker of the House, Jeremy Gillam, for a little bit longer. Well, you got the rest of this year, and the Senate President Jonathan Dismang. But you guys are going to be lame ducks really, really soon. You kind of already are.
Correct. That's right.
Sort of. Although the official vote hadn't happened yet.
Right. No, and you know, we just had that election. Very proud of Senator Hendren, and look forward to him being President Pro Tem.
There's still time for an upset. Remember Davy Carter a few years ago in the House. Yeah. And you guys do your voting for your new leadership.
We'll do ours on sine die for the fiscal session, which should take place in about a week or so.
All right. Who's going to win? Andy Davis? Matthew Shepard?
One of those two.
You going to go on record with a prediction? Not going to do it?
No.
It's probably a smart move on the Speaker's part there for sure. All right, let's talk about the fiscal session. I guess we're kind of coming into the home stretch here. It feels a little bit like we're coming into the home stretch. Give me your assessment of how smooth it has run. Give me your assessment of where we are with Arkansas Works and the DHS budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think that policy's probably injected itself into this particular session, probably more so than the ones we've had in the past. And it's really been hard to have a dialogue with the members about the appropriations, about revenue stabilization, because so much of the discussion is centered around these policy issues. As far as revenue stabilization, hopefully we'll be able to put that on the desk next week. And as far as the medical services appropriation, or Arkansas Works, which holds that, it's a Senate bill, and we're 3 short in the Senate, and there were some members that are still asking questions and want to have some confirmation, in particular on the work requirements.
How are you feeling in the House?
I think things have gone pretty smooth, all things considered. I agree with the President that there's been a lot of policy discussions that have kind of been outside the normal appropriation discussions we've had, but on the whole, I think things have gone, relatively as we had expected them to, and I think we're in good shape to be able to.
You got the votes in the House?
So, based on the conversations that members have had, I think we do. We've not done an official vote count, but it seems like that there's kind of a consensus building for the vote. So.
Be whipping it soon. So you're 3 shy in the Senate. What kind of questions are your members asking? What do you think you have to address for them?
Well, it's been quite a bit of time just trying to look at the financials of the program, impact on the state if it went away, impact on the state if you moved it to all fee-for-service, and those sorts of things are really the questions that have been asked. Here recently, asked a group of the members if there was anything else that needed to have answered, and really it came back to wanting to make sure that this work requirement was in place, and I think that's the reason it'll be important next week when they have those meetings, and hopefully get some confirmation on that.
Or do you think the votes for either chamber are contingent upon the federal waiver being approved? Are they going to vote ahead of knowing if the federal waiver is approved?
Well, I think that it's a big factor in a lot of the decision for the House members. So I think it would definitely help if we had that knowledge of the approval prior to the vote.
A watch pot never boils. You know the old saying there, and we've been watching that pot for a long time.
Well, I would have liked to have seen us get a signal at this point. But we don't always get to control those things, and we're trying to explain, work through with the members if they do have any questions. And we've got some House members that have similar questions as some of the senators, and we're trying to make sure they have that opportunity as well.
Give me chances on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being pretty daggum good and 0 being, no chance. The chances that this gets pushed to some sort of special session in terms of a vote for the DHS budget?
Probably more on your end than it would be on ours. So.
Yeah, I would say as far as like a percentage of desire to do that would be 0,
right.
For me. We need to handle these budget matters in this particular session is what we've been sitting here to do. And we need to have a vote on the appropriation. We'll have it next week and kind of see where things fall. Again, the good news is you've got a number of members that have, traditionally been opposed to the program that now have an open mind about the program, understand that we don't want to have, some type of DC shutdown in regards to DHS here in the state, and are looking, again, to make sure the questions are answered, which I think they are at this point, and then also we can get assurance on that waiver request on the work requirement.
I'm not sure you're even saying that there's a chance that it might happen, but it could happen. It could get pushed off if the votes aren't there and you guys don't get the appropriation passed. It could happen.
I would like to keep it in this session, and my goal is to keep it in this session, and I don't see a scenario that, if nothing else, if we come to a standpoint that there's nothing to move forward with, again, and I don't think we take it up in a special session. We continue on the fiscal, however that plays out.
All right. Last question here before we go to a break. Special session. The PBMs are the biggest issue that's going to probably be dealt with in that special session. Was some of that a little horse trading to make sure that you could accommodate some members? I noticed that there is some synchronicity between the members that have issues with the PBMs and some Arkansas Works supporters there. There's a little bit of all of that mixed into the potion?
Well, I think from the House's perspective that there wasn't a lot of commingling. I mean, there was a pretty good amount of separation from those that have been advocating for some type of a change. That was pretty much a standalone issue. It was something that they needed, they felt like for their communities, their constituencies, to be dealt with. So I don't see that so much from our end of the building.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were some members that were very open about the fact that they were not going to move forward with that appropriation without having some type of assurance on the PBM issue. I mean, you see that still today where there's a hold on the medical service appropriation, and I think a couple of the folks that have that hold are those that are most involved with the PBM regulatory issue.
Are they going to get what they want on PBMs? Do you think that that's a pretty clear consensus that's come together in terms of what the solution will be in the special session?
I mean, I think the consensus is that there should be some type of licensure in the state for an assurance that those folks are following the law that we have on the books. There's an item called Act 900, and it's believed to be that the PBMs are breaking that portion of the law, but there's not teeth to be able to say, hold on, let's put a pause and make sure you're doing the right thing. And so the licensure part, I believe that there is consensus on. I think when you get into the weeds of the regulatory side is where things may differ a bit on how far do you go, how much do you let the insurance department promulgate in rule, and how much are we going to require in statute.
Yeah, agree, disagree?
I agree. I think that there's a consensus to definitely deal with the issue, that there's some problems that need to be addressed and it needs to be done sooner rather than later. We'll see when we get into the session exactly how many people coalesce around the actual bill itself.
It's got to be all done ahead of time.
But it looks as if right now that the consensus is there and that it's pretty much just going to be getting in, taking the votes, and moving on.
All right, I ran way over on that segment as Ricky, our camera operator here, is telling me I'm way past time. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and talk basketball with these two guys. I know it doesn't look like it, but they definitely are in it for hoops for kids' sake. We're back right after this. Welcome back to the program. I'm Roby Brock. I'm with Speaker of the House Jeremy Gillam, Senate President Jonathan Dismang, and we are going to talk in this block about the basketball prowess of the Senate and the House. And you brought the trophy that indicates that for the last, by the trophy, you've only won once. So
we're a little behind on getting that plaque.
I got
made,
you,
but we'll get that taken care of, and it'd probably save a little money to have them both done at the same time.
So Hoops for Kids' Sake is going to be on March 13th. It's a Tuesday night, 7 p.m. at the Jack Stevens Center on the UALR campus. The proceeds benefit Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Central Arkansas, the Boys and Girls Club of Bryant, and of Saline County. And this will be the 6th year for this. Yes. It's 3-2 House. You got a 2-year losing streak going, Speaker. Are you going to break it this time?
We have to. I do not want to go out on a loss. I would much rather go out a winner. But at the end of the day, we do this because we believe in the cause. We believe in helping out, the Big Brothers and Big Sisters and the Boys and Girls Clubs, and that's why we do it.
Yeah. So 2 in a row. What's been the big turnaround here?
Well, I mean, I think coaching probably has helped a little bit.
Are you the coach?
Yeah.
Okay, I got
but
you.
I mean, the other thing is, it was a pretty sizable beatdown. I'm just going to be honest. Last year between the House and the Senate.
Barely double digits.
Well,
that's not
but
a big
I mean,
beat
it was
down. 40 points is a beatdown.
I mean, we do have youth on our side, but
and Jeremy
we'll be in the game
too, the
Absolutely.
hacker. You got the 5 fouls to give. No blood, no foul.
No, that's where the advantage comes in, is because the last couple of years they have not had the 5 foul rule. So Jeremy could have 15 fouls and he didn't have to go out.
Who gets the governor this year?
I think he's going to stick with us. I think
so.
he preferred kind of working with the Senate on this deal.
And the Senate won last year, and he's up for re-election this year. I'm sure it'll be completely fair. Now, I think you guys ought to see if Pat Bradley and Blake Edens could be pages in the House for that particular Tuesday.
I think we'd be fine with Pat.
And we have Blake. He's an assistant coach, and so I mean, I
Yes.
have to give him a little bit
Are
of
you
credit
going to
on
bring
these
Mitch?
last two.
Are you going to bring Mitch?
Yeah, and Mitch will be
Mitch
there.
Petrus is gonna be there?
Mitch Petrus will be there, and
And it's unlimited fouls?
it's something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
Well, and I think you can kind of stay under the basket all you'd like. So.
I think Mitch, I think he could just dunk. Y'all could just feed him all day. I don't even think he has to jump to get up there to the rim. He'll be huge.
He's a big
You
guy.
guys better work on your defense.
We're going to have to do a lot to compensate for the extra folks that he's bringing this
Now
year.
I see why you brought him in there. I got you. All right, it's the 6th annual Arkansas Legislative Hoops Game. It's Hoops for Kids' Sake. It benefits the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Central Arkansas, the Boys and Girls Club of Saline County and of Bryant. It is Tuesday, March 13th, 7 p.m. at the Jack Stevens Center. Come to our website at talkbusiness.net and you will see a link of how to find out more about Hoops for Kids' Sake. Senator Dismang, Speaker Gillam, maybe the last time I get to say this to you for a while, so thank you for being here.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, Robbie.
And thank you for tuning in. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.